Hello, I'm Gus Downing, publisher and editor of the D&D Daily, and this is the LP News Network. Today we're here with Jim Connolly, the Senior Vice President of Asset Protection for Burlington Coat Factory. With close to 500 stores doing over $4 billion in sales annually, Jim joined Burlington Coat in 2010. Prior to that, Jim spent 15 years at May Company Department Stores and 4 years as the Vice President of Loss Prevention and Risk Management at Bloomingdale's. In 2010, Jim successfully engineered the biggest LP reorganization of an LP program and department in the entire industry in Burlington Coat's entire company history as well. They created about 40 new asset protection positions at a time when we were in the depths of a recession, and the results have been incredible. Now, after 4 years, his program faces what all programs and teams face, and that is, once you've matured and have an established program and team, how do you take it to the next level? And how do you retain, challenge, and develop the program and the team members and keep it fresh, new, exciting, and fulfilling for the executives? A real challenge for anyone and for any team. So let's open it up. First, I'd like to thank you for being here, Jim.
Yeah, thank you, Gus.
And we'd like to start out by just asking you to give us a real quick snapshot of the building process that you undertook in 2010 at Burlington. I mean, what did you do in the first 2 years, and what brought you to where you are today?
Well, when I joined Burlington, it really presented a unique opportunity. That's why I joined the company, where at the time was a 35-year-old company, but it was going through a reorganization, and it had been bought out by a private equity firm. And every aspect of the company was changing and turning into something that it wasn't under the old leadership, and that includes the asset protection team. When I first got there, I realized that I had to really start from scratch, that the building blocks weren't there, and I had to create those. And the first thing I did was just establish that Burlington was now part of the LP industry. It had operated out of the arena of the LP industry, was not engaged in activities through the NRF or any of the organized retail crime councils that operate around the country. So I started to engage in that, and that started to create a brand within the industry for Burlington as a place you could start a career, that you could have a career.
You opening it up to the Daily a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
From the standpoint of getting some press and coverage
and that really
filling jobs
went a long way towards putting us on the map.
Sure.
So that I could go out and talk to someone, or they'd reach out to me and say, I understand who you are because I read something online about what you're trying to do there. So that was really the first thing I had to do, is establish that we were going to be a player in the LP industry. And from there, it was really finding the right people to come in and fill these jobs. We followed the same business model as the other divisions within the company as far as how we organized, created the positions, and I reached back into my work history to find some of the best talent that I had worked with and brought them on board. So the chance I took in the past of working with other individuals, hiring other individuals, and mentoring them over the years really gave me a foothold to bring them with me. And that really became the foundation for the team, because the quality individuals I was able to recruit to the company, they also had the same approach to filling their positions. So that sort of fed into that, and that's how we ended up creating so many different positions and creating our whole organization. And it took about 2 years. It took about a year to fill the positions, but it took about 2 years to really develop the program and the approach, to decide how we wanted to approach the external issues that every retailer faces, how we wanted to attack internal dishonesty, auditing, the shortage control, the risk management piece of the company. All those things took the formation over the first 2 years. And over these last 2 years, it's really been about getting a payback on that investment. Our senior management is very supportive, and that's, again, a very critical reason why I decided to join Burlington, was I knew that the senior management team there was bought into the loss prevention role and how it could be integral into the company's success. And so that investment they made, the results are now starting to show in what we're doing, both from a functional job basis, meaning what we do on a day in and day out basis, but also what we're delivering from a shortage point of view.
So if I'm correct, you knew some of the executives from a previous...
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So you come in and propose 40 new jobs. I mean, I'm sure they had some questions and how long is it going to take to get our ROI?
Yep.
So, and then you created a brand. You got the name out there. You reached back and got some folks and executives that you had worked with before.
Correct.
Now it's been 4 years. Now you've got to take it to the next level.
Correct.
You tweak the program. How do you go about that? So,
I think that the 4 years of developing the program is something that I want to maintain continuity with. I really don't want to go back and start to tweak things that have been successful. What I'm really focused on is ensuring that the loss prevention and asset protection team is contributable in ways beyond just shortage control and risk management. What are we doing to support store operations? What are we doing to support the HR function, customer service? And those things add value as a department. As our industry has seen in the past, when a loss prevention team is very effective at what they do and they lower shrink, there sometimes can be a tendency for senior management to say, okay, well, let's take those resources and move them someplace else. I don't want to see that happen. I want us to continue to do what we're doing through our audit program, through our external approach, through our internal investigations program, to deliver results in a big picture way and not in a narrow band. Taking it to the next level is just that. How do you keep us big picture as a department and not focused on just the shrink piece of it or just the safety piece of it? And to get there, I have the team. They're very much a part of developing the program. We did a survey of the entire company, and one of the questions that was asked of every associate and the entire asset protection team was, do my ideas and suggestions count? And that's the one out of 80 questions, that's the one question I really focused on, because 100% of our executive LP team said, yes, my ideas and suggestions count, which told me that I had laid the foundation for a really strong program. And now I have to take these men and women and give them what they need to continue to grow. So they continue to have that belief that we're there for them. So that's where taking advantage of certification programs that are in the industry right now, taking advantage of educational opportunities, whether it's online higher education, whether it's CFI training. We've even taken interview training down to the supervisor level, so to a staff level, that individual who is going to be the next regional, who maybe 10 years from now could be the next director. Those are the things that I want to continue to do for our team, and that's going to get us to the next level. It's not going to be a new program. We've invested in technology. We've invested in exception reporting tools. We're fully on our way to being an IP integrated company. We've done those things, but it's the people behind that that makes the difference.
And it's expanding their roles and the value that they add in the box.
Correct.
So to speak.
Yeah, and that's where I really partner with senior management. I partner with the field management, the store's field management, and ensure that it's a collaboration on all fronts. They get engaged in our programs, and we get engaged in theirs. And when you look at how we measure the success of an LP executive or an LP associate, it does not have to do with an apprehension or an investigation. It is based on shortage, sales, service, people development. Those are the things we measure, because the end result is what matters. It doesn't matter if you had X number of this or X number of that. If it doesn't deliver on the sales and shortage line, if it doesn't help create the people who are going to be the future leaders of the company, if it doesn't satisfy the customer, it doesn't have relevancy in our book. And again, that's why I think if we continue down that road, we're going to be an exceptional retailer on every level, but also be one of the leaders in the industry. That's what I want to get to, be a leader in the LP industry, that people want to come work at Burlington Coat Factory because of what we do from an asset protection, loss prevention, safety point of view.
There's also a risk factor. I mean, when you push a program beyond the formula,
correct,
and you're looking to add value and get involved in HR, get involved in operations, you're kind of opening up that gambit. So you kind of run a risk as well. I mean, there may be some folks that are very comfortable in their box,
correct,
so to speak, and you're asking them to get out of it. So how do you manage that? How do you identify those that are resistant? And what do you do with them?
Well, I think that if you look at the most successful retailers across the world, not just here in the United States, that idea that people are not in a box, that you're cross-functional. If you look at some of the great companies like GE and Procter & Gamble, you don't look at that and say, this person can only do logistics, this person can only do development, this person can only do that. So we're looking for good business executives. And in the vetting process, the hiring process, that's what we really focus on. If you were not a LP professional, what within the retail world would you do? That's a question I ask in every interview, because I want to hear, if that person says, well, I don't want to do anything else, that to me is sort of a red flag to say this person doesn't have what I'm looking for.
Right in the pre-employment process.
I ask them up front, if LP didn't exist as an industry,
what would you do?
What would you do? And that's where you can really see the gears turning and the thought process going into human resources, operations, store management, things of that nature. And that's what we're looking for. So the risk factor of an LP executive or an LP staff supervisor going to the next level in a different division, to me, is a win. And the idea that I now have other companies calling our team and asking if they're interested in leaving Burlington, to me that's a compliment, and I have to have a comfort level that what we offer as a company and the job that we do supporting these people are going to keep them with us. But I had to explain to people 4 years ago what Burlington was, how many stores we had, where we're located. I don't have to do that anymore. And I, again, take it as a compliment that I'm developing a group of people who are capable of doing more than just their core job responsibility.
In just personal curiosity, what's the normal response you get when you ask them about what else would you like to do other than LP? Is there a generic response?
Most of them, because of the nature of what we do, it's operations. Because we're an operationally focused group of professionals to begin with. We work very closely with our operations partners. I think the second answer to that question most frequently is human resources. And again, if you look at what we do as far as how we manage our teams, our role in what we do to support the hiring processes, background screening, things of that nature, what we do from an internal investigations and the decision making we have to make in that. I do think that loss prevention is actually should be considered a strong feeder organization for human resources, because there's so much of what we do that goes into the decision making that a human resource professional.
And quite frankly, back in the 50s and 60s, that's where security came from, was the personnel side of the business.
Correct.
So, interesting analogy there.
Yeah.
So where are you taking the department now? I mean, what's the primary goal of 2014?
Going back to the certification processes for our team. I really want to enhance the educational opportunities for the LP team and get them to a place where they have additional tools in their toolbox when it comes to how they approach their job. And that's one key thing. The other is to leverage the technology investments that we've made. To have IP cameras in our store has been a great tool for us. It's made big inroads in a lot of ways. Now we need to take that to the next level. We are utilizing it in some ways with our marketing teams. We are endeavoring to get our operations partners to use it with more frequency. Again, cross-functional, so that we're leveraging everyone's tools and not simply relying on one thing. And then the last is awareness. I made an investment in all of these team members and equipment. It still comes down to how you train, coach your associates and how they respond to your message. And to this point, I think we've had a strong upward swing, but I can't let that plateau. at over 500 stores. We're at 520 right now, 47 states around the country and Puerto Rico, and 30,000 employees. That's a big group of people that I have to engage, and I have to get them to want to help me and help the stores from an asset protection point of view. And we're going to make more investments in the awareness part, the training part, and doing things that get people as excited as they can be for loss prevention and shortage control.
Okay, one last question. When you're interviewing a candidate, an LP executive, what do you look for?
I look for someone who has that global vision about retail. And when I started almost 30 years ago, LP was LP. It was catching shoplifters, it was auditing, it was taking inventory. I don't think anybody can go into any endeavor within retail and just be focused on one aspect. If you're going to be in operations, you have to have broad vision across all of the divisions. If you're in human resources, you can't just focus on hiring and turnover. And that's what I look for in an LP executive. Are they going to be able to be as engaged on talking about an operational issue, a merchandising focus, a customer service matter during a store visit or in a group meeting, as they are going to be when what we love to do, internal investigations and things of that nature. So I look for that. I look for the good executive, the smart executive, and fortunately I've been able to find quite a few of those since I joined Burlington.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
building it.
Thank you.
And thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Gus.
And that's it for this episode of LPNN.